When modeling parts from scratch in SolidWorks, we always start with a sketch. This part is no exception. In order to create this part from a sketch, we need to use features based on the sketches we draw. Features like the extruded boss base command or the extruded cut command are just a couple examples of sketch-based features. But not all features are sketch-based features. We also have tools like fillet, which do not require sketch geometry. We call these applied features. That means that there are two basic types of features: sketch-based features and applied features. In order to construct our part, we will need to use a combination of sketches, sketch-based features, and applied features all together. In a nutshell, we may break the modeling process down to 3 steps. The first step is to start with a sketch. The second step is to create a sketch-based feature from the sketch. And the third step is to add any additional sketches and sketch-based features or applied features to the model. To illustrate this process, I'll take about 60 seconds to draw this part from scratch. Begin modeling our part from scratch. We'll start with a sketch. I'll use the front plane on which to sketch, and I'll use my line tool to start sketching my profile. Once my profile is complete, I'll now use my extruded boss base tool in order to create a sketch-based feature. Next, we'll go ahead and add another feature to create the hole cutout onto this face. Once again, I'll insert a sketch. I'll draw my hole, and I'll use my extruded cut command to cut through that geometry. Finally, I'll apply an applied feature. I'll select the fillet tool to fillet this edge. And that's it. Now that we see where sketches fall in the modeling process, let's show how to start a sketch in more detail. As this video will demonstrate, you'll see that there are many ways in which we can start a sketch, but I'll focus on just one of these ways for now. In our Insert pull-down, I will start a sketch by selecting the Sketch button listed there. As soon as I select it, the Edit Sketch Property Manager appears, giving me some instructions on what to do next. It tells me that I should select a plane on which to sketch. Following these instructions, I will select the front plane. As soon as I do this, I noticed a few things change in my SolidWorks interface that now indicate that I have successfully started a sketch. As you can see, according to our status bar, we are now editing a sketch. Also, our confirmation corner reports that we can now exit the sketch or cancel the sketch that we are in. Finally, even another indicator that we're in a sketch is in our Insert pull-down. You'll notice that the Sketch button has changed to an Exit Sketch button. And also on the Command Manager, we see that the Sketch button there has also changed to an Exit Sketch button. Based on what we saw a moment ago, we noticed that when we selected Sketch from the Insert pull-down, it immediately told us to select a plane. I'm going to cancel this. I wonder what would happen if I first select a plane and then select Sketch from the Insert pull-down. You'll notice that when I pre-select a plane and then select the Sketch button, it also inserts a sketch. So that means there's basically 2 ways in which I can create new sketches. I can select the Sketch button first and follow the instructions to select a plane, or I can select a plane first and then simply click the Sketch button. Now that we've illustrated the ways in which we can accomplish the task of inserting a sketch using the Sketch button under the Insert pull-down, the rest of this demonstration will focus on all the different places we can go to accomplish our tasks and make creating these commonly used features such as inserting sketches, extrudes, fillets, etc. much more accessible. We will do this by focusing on all the different areas where we can find the Sketch button in particular, but keep in mind that the tools that I'm about to show you don't just apply to inserting sketches alone. The first place we'll go to begin inserting our sketches for this portion of the demonstration is going to be a place that we've been a couple times already, the pull-downs. The pull-downs are very much similar to a lot of the Windows-based applications such as Excel, PowerPoint, Word. We have the file pull-down where we can go to save files or do all sorts of file management. Edit pull-down where we have cut, copy, paste, but where we'll find the sketch tool under the Insert pull-down. So for our first one, I'll select Insert Sketch, use our front plane, and this will be our first way of creating a sketch using the pull-downs. I'll use the Rebuild button in order to exit the sketch. The next place we'll look for the Sketch button is on our Command Manager. The Command Manager is a special toolbar which hosts a series of different toolbars available for special features such as sheet metal, weldments, or even sketch tools available on this toolbar as well. On this toolbar we have our Sketch button, and you'll notice that this is the exact same Sketch button as the one we saw under our Insert pull-down, and also ones that we'll be using here shortly. So if I go ahead and select this button, it asks for a plane on which to sketch. So I'll select the front plane, and this will be, again, the second way of inserting our sketch. The next way we'll go about inserting a sketch is using toolbars. Toolbars are available by right-clicking in an open area of our toolbars area, and on here I can enable all sorts of different types of toolbars, similar to the ones we saw in the Command Manager a moment ago, such as sheet metal or weldments, and also a sketch toolbar. By turning on the sketch toolbar, this gives me easy access to all my sketch tools always available, and I can always move these to another point in my interface. I have the same sketch option listed on this toolbar. If I go ahead and select it, once again select the front plane, and this will be the third way. The fourth way in which I'll demonstrate how we can insert a sketch will be using the Context toolbar. If I take a look at my Feature Manager tree area, I see my planes as well as my sketches listed there. If I select a plane by using my normal left click, it brings up a Context toolbar. If I select a sketch, it brings up another Context toolbar. And these different toolbars, depending on what I click, give me different options. Selecting a plane allows me to create sketches, and I can also select planes from my graphics area as well. I get a similar Context toolbar which pops up that has similar options. I can also find this Context toolbar by right-clicking on planes as well. If I right-click on a plane or right-click on a sketch, you see that same Context toolbar appears. So I'll go ahead and insert a sketch. I'll select my front plane, I'll select sketch, and that puts me in a sketch mode. And again, this will be the fourth way in which I'll insert a sketch. For the fifth way of inserting a sketch, I'll demonstrate this by using keyboard shortcuts. SolidWorks offers many defaults for keyboard shortcuts. Things like, if I hit the space bar, it opens up an orientation dialog, which allows me to reorient my model to different orientations. Other keys are things like the G key. If I hit G on my keyboard, this allows me to zoom in and on particular areas of my model that I might be interested in. So those are just a couple of many of the defaults that are available for our keyboard shortcuts. If we go to our Tools pull-down and select Customize, here we can see the full list of features which we can set for shortcuts, and I can see exactly which ones are set to the defaults. In our case, I want to set a keyboard shortcut for our Insert Sketch. By using the search bar, it allows me to find that Insert Sketch tool very quickly and easily. I'll go ahead and set this to K. If I click OK, now all I need to do is hit K on my keyboard. Once I do that, it asks me for a plane. I'll select the front plane, and that puts my sketch in place. The sixth way in which I'll insert a sketch will be using the shortcut bar. Within the SolidWorks graphical user interface, at any point if I hit the S key, this allows me to get access to a variety of features or tools which may be used in context of certain environments. For example, if I'm in a part, this gives me access to my extrude boss base command. If I'm in a sketch, this shortcut bar gives me access to my sketch tools. So I'll show how we can use this shortcut bar to insert a sketch. If I hit my S key, currently you notice that my sketch tool is not listed on my shortcut bar. However, I can customize this bar for any one of my environments. I'll select Customize, and it opens up my Customize dialog where I can now drag and drop different tools onto my shortcut bar. I'll go ahead and drop my sketch tool right on there. When I click OK, now the next time I use my shortcut bar, that sketch tool is now available on there. I'll go ahead and select it, and I'll select the front plane, and that's how we can use that shortcut bar to insert a sketch. The seventh and final way in this segment, which I'll show how to insert a sketch, will be using mouse gestures. In my SolidWorks environment, if I hold down my right mouse button anywhere in the graphics area and move my cursor while holding down my right mouse button, this gives me access to something called mouse gestures. If I continue to move my cursor to the right, it will reorient me to a right view. If I hold down my right mouse button and move my cursor to the left, this will be a left view. I can customize the different options that I have available in this mouse gestures as well. And depending on what environment I'm in, for example, if I'm in a sketch, I'll see different buttons are available in my mouse gestures. So going back to the 3D part modeling environment, what I'll do here is I will go ahead and add on sketch onto my mouse gestures. In order to do this, we need to go to our Tools, Customize once again. In here we have mouse gestures as one of the items listed. I can use this very much like my keyboard shortcuts I used previously. And what I'll do is in the part modeling environment, I'd like my up sweep to be the sketch option. Once I click OK, now if I right click and drag, you'll notice sketch appears on the top portion. I've now selected it, and when I select the front plane, this represents the seventh way which I can use to insert a sketch. In the previous segment, I showed you 7 different ways in which we could insert a new sketch and 7 different places where we could find that sketch button. In this segment, I'll show you a few more ways in which we can create new sketches that don't involve the sketch button explicitly. In this segment, the first way in which we'll create a sketch will be using sketch-based features. On our command manager within SolidWorks, we have a Features tab which includes a variety of different features we discussed earlier. The 2 features we see lit up here are both sketch-based features. The Extruded Boss Base command and also the Revolved Boss Base command are currently available. If I select one of these commands directly, it will require a sketch, so it tells me to select the front plane. From here, I can go right into drawing my sketch, and you can tell that I did not need to select any one of those sketch options that I selected before. This takes me right into it. So now when I exit the sketch, it automatically moves over into creating the extrude feature. The second way I'll demonstrate creating a sketch in this segment will be by using sketch tools directly. If I go back to my command manager, on the sketch tab of this command manager, I have my different sketch tools available to me. Currently, I am not in a sketch. However, if I select a tool like the rectangle tool, and then select the front plane, that will put me into a sketch with my rectangle tool active. I can draw that rectangle, and there we have our sketch. The third way in which I'll create a sketch in this segment will be by using a model edge. Now that I have a 3D model on my display, I have access to faces, edges, and vertices to help me with my sketches. If, for example, I want to select an edge, take a closer look at what happens when I put a sketch on this edge. You notice when I select my sketch option, it now places a plane on the endpoint of that edge. So now if I wish to draw some sort of profile, that places that profile on that edge, which allows me to very quickly and easily perform features such as sweeps. So if I'd like to sweep that particular profile along that particular edge, I get a result that looks something like this here. So you can see that I can also insert sketches by pre-selecting edges and then selecting the sketch option. I'll do the same on this side. And this creates a similar sweep on the opposing side. Since my view tends to get quite cluttered at this point, I'll go ahead and hide a couple of these extra planes. The next way in which we'll insert a sketch will be through copying and pasting an existing sketch. For users familiar with Microsoft Windows, these commands should be very familiar. If I go to my Edit pull-down, we see options available here such as Cut, Copy, Paste, and Delete. I can use these options to select an existing sketch, in this case Sketch 2, select Edit and Copy, or Control-C. Then I can select a plane or a face, and I can select Edit, Paste to paste that sketch on that plane or face. There we now see that sketch has been added. The fifth and final way in which we'll insert a sketch in this segment will be through the Design Library. On the far right side of our SolidWorks window, we have what we call our task pane. Our task pane includes a series of tabs, one of which is the Design Library. If I go into the Design Library tab, here is where I can find Design Library files. Browsing through these directories, I have things like features, which I can use to drag and drop onto my existing SolidWorks geometry. If I go ahead and try one of these features, we see that this was a feature that was saved in my design library previously. Now it's been added to my model. I'll remove this feature and we'll go ahead and try this with a sketch as well. In my design library, I previously created a folder called Sketches, which I saved a design library sketch. If I drag and drop this sketch and place it on one of the faces of my model, that allows me to insert that sketch. In this demonstration, I covered 7 different places where we can find the sketch button. In addition to that, I covered 5 other ways which we could use to insert a sketch. I hope that this demonstration, through the use of one simple operation, such as inserting a sketch, has opened your mind to the varieties of possibilities that are available when you use SolidWorks. Thank you for listening.